Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have Extra Ketchup. So, yeah, it's our 4th year anniversary episode.
And you finally brought extra ketchup for us here.
Yeah, I know.
Like, geez, we've been asking this entire time.
Well, Mikey might remember last year when we did Ronald McDonald House with Matt from The Drunk and the Ugly. And shortly after that one, he was like, man, you know what you guys should do after this? Extra ketchup. And I was like, what is that? And
We'll get on that immediately.
But as with everything in our show, we kind of lose track or scheduling issues, or I decide to save it for special occasions.
Yeah.
We will have a little bit later a word from our sponsor, Matt from The Drunk and the Ugly and Ugly Talk. But first we're going to be doing Extra Ketchup by Slimebeast. It is on Slimebeast.com. Slimebeast has also been doing actually an archiving website of his own for creepypastas.
Is that not this one?
No, Slimebeast.com is for his mostly his stories and stuff, but he does allow, like, I think he does accept other stories, like on his on like the forum he has there. Mm-hmm. But Fearfic.com, which is the other site, is basically for archiving and posting old and new creepypastas, so that they don't get like edited, or they don't get like, basically for posterity, so they don't like vanish.
Posterity.
Damn you!
You're welcome.
That is kind of good. Damn it!
That should be the tagline.
Yeah. Fuck.
Saving creepy things for posterity. You're welcome, Slimebeast.
He'll probably end up listening to this.
That's fine.
But yeah, so basically the reason why Matt suggested this one was because it was like, well, we did a really crappy pasta about
I think so. We did a really bad job reviewing this one, so we'll do a really bad job reviewing this one.
No. I mean, yes, but no.
Okay.
Because from what Matt told me, where that one was like long and kind of what was confusing and weird and kind of broken.
The story itself?
The story, Ronald McDonald House. Extra Ketchup was a good story, or like with somebody who knows like creepypasta very well. And so so we'll go into this then with that in mind. So Extra Ketchup, I guess there's no named narrator. I guess it is narrator.
It's narrator man.
Yeah. He has a friend named Pete, and Pete is a bit of an unlikable fellow. Pete. He mentions Pete. He calls him Pete a couple times.
Yeah. He starred in the latest Deadpool movie.
Way to date us.
You're welcome.
And he's got a bit of a weirdness to him. Basically, he can't finish a story, or like he leaves information out of a story so that he can have this like zinger one-liner, or this like this kind of like zinger thing. As like, oh well, like when you ask him, like when you want more information from his stories, he's like, well, it's no fun if I just tell you.
And then he thinks that's hilarious.
Yeah, and he just gets dies, and like usually people will go and check out the thing that he's talking about, and they'll be super disappointed, and basically they just stop being his friend.
Yes.
And our narrator man, is the only person that's really even like stuck around him, because he's been able to like not fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Until now, where he's going on a trip to see a girl he met online. And Peters happens to know a couple of the roads that he's traveling, so he's like, oh, I know where you should go on the way there. You should go to this place called Honkers. It's crazy. It's got like good food and whatnot, and the character, the people there dress up like, and then he just like stops and he's like,
never guess what they're wearing.
And it's like, what do you mean? Oh no, and he's like, it's no fun if I just tell you. Mm-hmm. And so, he decides to go check it out to see if his friendship is worth it, even though like he's the only one that's stuck around Peter.
Yes.
And so on his trip down, he decides to go down that Bridgestone Road, which is what was in his notes. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't find a whole lot. It's like just a rural road. And then he finally...
on the directions, there were some call-outs that he said before the restaurant, but he didn't see them along the way.
Yeah, just as he's about to give up, basically, he sees a sign that says Honkers. And he goes in, and it's this pristine, clean McDonald's rip-off restaurant by the looks of it, like clown-themed. And there's like only another car there, like compact car. So he parks, goes in, and everyone there, like all the employees, are dressed up as clowns and are super like happy, and they're like, "Honk honk, welcome to Honkers." And he goes to the cashier whose name tag says "fun size" or "fun sized."
I think it's just fun size.
Fun size, yeah, fun size. And they ask if they'd like the Big Top burger, and he asks her about it and gives us like long diatribe or like long ingredient list, and then they kind of act funny and weird. And there's a guy in the back in the kitchen, like this big rough guy, that's like a lot less cheery than the rest of the employees.
Yeah.
But he gets his burger. He places the order, and gets and like asks for some extra ketchup. And the guy in the back is like, "No ketchup, no! Don't you dare give him any ketchup!" After some like kind of prodding about like wanting some extra ketchup, narrator man decides, okay, I'm just gonna back off and go eat my food. He's kind of getting a little irritable about like the service here, and then he, as he's eating the food, notices a truck shows up, but they never come inside. And then just as he's finishing his sandwich, he like bites into something and it jabs him like in the gums, like something sharp. He spits it out, and it's like, oh, and then you hear in the background, like in the kitchen, it's like, oh, like well, what now? He's better not complain about the food. And then he just kind of gets a little like, what, screw this. It's like, and then he calls them out on like the food and how shitty it is and how you just like bit into something sharp. And don't worry, I'm not going to sue, like kind of taunting him. And then the guy just kind of breaks open the door. He turns out he's this giant, like massive muscle, like no neck to speak of, just a brick wall. In a clown suit, covered in like ketchup stains and whatnot on an apron, and he's just fuming like the fucking Hulk. So narrator man like gets like just runs for the door, apologizing, gets outside, gets to his car, is like kind of jingling and stuff like that, and then hears something from the truck, like somebody's knocking on the inside of this truck that says refrigerated meat delivery. For Honkers, and this big obese trucker with a clown nose and comes out and like bashes on the door after looking at him to kind of quiet down the knocking, and this kind of draws our character in to follow him cautiously around to the back of the truck, where as he's opening it and like gets a peek inside before the guy notices and then slams it shut. And he in that moment he sees that the entire back of the truck is packed with children, dead and alive, like kidnapped children.
Yeah, like floor to ceiling.
Yeah, floor to ceiling, not sitting around, not crowded. They're packed in. And so he just runs into runs to his car, zooms out, freaking the hell out, tries to call the cops. He gets the words Honkers out, and the cops basically dismiss it because it didn't work the first 100 times. It's not going to work now. This is a shitty practical joke. This is illegal. You can get arrested for this kind of thing.
Yeah. And
then hangs up. And it's like, what? This place has been like reported 100 times and nothing's happened about it. And so, he calls up his buddy Pete, and is like, "What the hell, man? You sent me to Honkers, like on Bridgestone Road." It's like, wait, what? No, like Honkers is like it's all about these clowns and these that tried to kill me. And it's like, what? No, Honkers is like Hooters, except they're topless, and it's not on Bridgestone Road. It's on Stonebridge Road, and that's where he like stops like the car in off to the side of a cornfield, and is just dying like laughing hysterically because he now gets to tell the joke that his friend has gotten to tell all those times as a comeback for this.
Because he knows he's going to ask him what happened. He's
Exactly,
going to be like, well, it's no fun if I just tell you.
And that's the end of the story. So, I guess we'll go with our obligatory grammar Nazisms. So, because there were a few. After a few separate conversations with Peter, and really that one was just separate, was spelled wrong. It was separate, not separate. It was an E, not an A.
Yeah, okay.
The next one is just that regarding. Oh yeah, I didn't mention in the rundown, but Peter did have a chance with some girl, but because he did his thing, his weirdness, and sent her to a place that basically made her like sick for a month.
Yeah.
The relationship ended soon after. Well, I think soon after has to be separated. Like it's soon and after.
Were they together as one?
Yeah, I think that's a separate word, or they have to be separate words. Pretty sure.
Did Google Docs tell you?
Yeah, Google Docs did tell me.
That's how he finds all of these.
Not always. Not always.
Oh, sure. But yeah, is it like a situation like thereafter? Isn't that one word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would soon after be a word?
Would it be?
It's the same kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of, but it's one of those things where it may or may not be a word.
Yeah.
It's not a glaring typo.
Yeah, it's nitpicky
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Look who's in the nook
nitpick
now.
nook.
I know.
Again?
I've been in the nitpick nook a lot.
Yeah.
Shit.
Just
All right,
moving in.
well.
Push this right out. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm just gonna push you guys out. Switch over, guys.
You just have it.
I'll just sit on your chair. Oh, nice, and everything's cool. Yeah. The next one is Peter had driven some of the same road I was taking, and was itching to tell me about this restaurant he'd found. So I think it should say, like, this is one I just picked up when I was reading it. I think it should say Peter had driven some of the same roads I was taking.
Depends if he's taking a long road to get mostly there. If it's some huge...
That's true. Like, it could be like the I-90 or whatever, like or like a major interstate highway kind of thing.
Well, and it is on the way to where he's going.
Yeah.
So he might have only driven to that location and not all the way that he was planning.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It was just like when I was reading, I was like, I had to read it a couple times to make sure if it sounded right, and to me it sounded better if it was roads, but road would also make sense.
Because generally speaking, you take... if at all possible, when you're going a long distance, you take one road, like a highway, and you zoom down. That's kind of what I got out of it.
All right, fair. For a moment, I considered at some point telling him I'd been there just to see what he said. So, for that one, it's at the very end, just to see what he'd say. I felt would be the better choice for that.
Yeah.
And then the next one is, it seemed odd to have multiple people waiting to serve so few customers.
Multiple?
It's just the L is in the wrong spot on the multiple. It's supposed to be multiple people.
There could be multiple people there. How do you know?
Yeah. Is that like dog people?
Yeah. Little dog people, specifically.
Oh, God. Yeah, little dog people dressed in clown outfits.
There you go.
Oh my God.
That's their mascots.
Yeah. And the next one is, I could see inside for only a moment before he tuned back. So just turned back. Yeah.
No. He tuned back the radio.
But he wasn't near the radio.
Or he tuned his direction of paying attentionness away from the counter. He tuned himself back
this is where he's out in the parking lot, checking on the guy at the end of the truck. So he's outside at the back of the truck as the guy's closing the door.
Or maybe he tuned back to reality at that point.
Yeah.
Or it's just a typo.
Yeah, or it's just a typo.
Yeah.
That's a simpler explanation.
Yeah. And then this one's partially a grammar Nazi and also just like a thought I had while I was like adding it. Sir, this wasn't funny the first 100 times it was called it in. So it just has to be that there's like an it between called and in. It just has to be removed. But also, I really like this. Like for me, this gave me a really good sense of dread realization that while many others have called in and the cops either don't care or have been led to believe that any call regarding this place called Honkers is a prank, it adds to the character's helplessness and gives a bit more direness to the situation. Like, he's trying to call... It's kind of like an age-old trope for horror movies, where you try calling the cops and they just don't believe you, or they've been told... It's been told a bunch of times, so they just... It's like the Boy Who Cried Wolf kind of scenario.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming what happened the first couple of times it got called in, they tried to find the place and they couldn't find it.
Yeah, exactly. Since apparently Bridgestone doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then, Honkers. I thought you'd get a kick out of it, because they were all wearing no shirts. And it should be, I thought you'd get a kick out of it. So out of it. Yeah.
I didn't catch these.
We
should read them
on Google
prior to midnight, I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, that also helped.
Yeah.
And again, like, these are, like, very nitpick, and just, like, again, I found most of these on, like, Google Docs. I did actually reread the story last night, like, on his website, just to, like, get a refresher. And I did pick up another one, but I can't remember what it was. Shoot. But,
you got enough already, keep going.
Yeah. So, again, like, it's just silly grammar Nazi nitpicky stuff. So, and that's my notes. Actually, that's my grammar Nazisms. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Well, knowing that the author was Slimebeast, I sort of turned off my brain and didn't find any grammar Nazis.
That's fair.
Are you cereal?
I mean, to be fair, like, those aren't, like, that was the bulk of the ones I found, and it wasn't, like, they weren't that bad. So, like,
They're just mistakes.
for a 12-page story, because, again, Google Docs, when I went to take my notes, it was, like, about 12 pages there, so.
Okay. So you actually didn't find any?
No.
No, he just turned off his
Did
brain.
you purposefully overlook them?
I turned off my brain. Part of it that looks for Nazisms.
Okay.
That's fair.
You don't want to hunt Nazis, that's fine, but...
Well, I don't want to become the Nazi that gets hunted.
I see.
Yeah, because that's what happens to grammar Nazis.
That's true. Yes. But we're calling out the Nazis for what they are. So
No,
we
we're
can
not
destroy
calling
them.
out the Nazis. We're being Nazis by calling out the grammar issues.
Hey, we're referring to these as grammar Nazis, so I'm directing it that way.
Okay, well, you're kind of
Explain.
wrong. But
I know. Oh, you grammar Naziing my
Yes.
grammar Nazi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
it's almost like there's this part of the show that's critically silly.
Like 98%
On
of the
itself.
show.
Well, since you guys got it.
You're welcome. Anyways, the first one I just feel like it might have been a little easier if it was written a different way.
Okay.
It's when describing Peter. Nobody who met him didn't like him. At least until they actually got to know him. So, like,
Wait, nobody who didn't like him?
nobody who met him
Okay.
didn't like him.
Okay, I thought...
So it's a double negative kind of deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so out of the people who didn't meet him, they didn't like him. Like, it's weird. So
Yeah.
it'd be way easier if it's just everyone who met him liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that and then not putting it in my notes.
Cool. Thanks for your help. Such a contribution.
See, what he saved all his notes for actual thoughts about the story.
Oh, until we get around to him, and he's like, I have no actual notes.
Yeah, and I would be very disappointed if that's
He's looking at a white screen there.
God damn it.
Okay, well, okay, the only other one I have is, the road was empty except for me, so I slowed down to a crawl just to see if the place was still there, ellipses, and if it was there. I kind of feel like it's saying the same thing twice.
Yeah.
It's saying if it's there and if it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of only need one, or just go slow down to a crawl just to see if the place was actually there.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that it repeats itself. And that's all I got.
Oh, okay. All right, then I guess into actual thoughts. So this one, I had to take down this set of lines because there was a.
I don't like that you're looking at two pieces of paper at the same time.
There was a growing theme I had as I was like, maybe it's because I have a bias against, or like a bias against clowns.
This is the first time that you're like holding your notes and like the first page is drooping over because you're holding them together.
It's not that long. It's not that. It's not a full page.
It looks like you're about to like read some huge scripture.
Okay. So okay. I chuckled at the absurd length of the memorized statement. I studied her once again. She was on the short side, and her name tag read "fun size." I'm sorry. What's on that again? 2 ridiculous large patties, our special fun sauce, lettuce, pickles, onions, mushrooms, and great gooey gobs of glorious golden cheese. Yes, even on the way to meet a girl I thought I was falling in love with, I still felt like flirting a little. Now faster, and then she does it faster because I cannot do that. I cannot read that fast out loud. And then he goes, she really knew her stuff. Now backwards. As soon as I made the outlandish, incredibly rude demand, she obeyed. I don't really know exactly what came out of her mouth, but the strange backward speak sounded pretty much like she was reciting the exact routine in reverse. And then we go on to the next one, which was a little bit later. There was I handed over the cash and stepped back from the counter. As I turned my attention to the other cashiers, I jumped a bit. They were all fixated on me, standing at their stations with heads turned, each wearing an identical, idiotically large smile. Wow! And then a little bit later, actually no. And then the next thing I have is as I bit into the heart-stoppingly greasy and thick burger, I noticed something.
My heart stopped. Sorry.
I was palpitating.
Sorry.
I noticed something. The other customer, whoever had come in the combat car, was nowhere to be seen. He's somewhere close, I suspect. That was my reaction to that when I was going through it. But then right afterward, it's just like, for a fleeting moment, I considered the idea that the staff had killed him and used his body for ground beef. Damn it! Well played, story. Well played. You got to the punch before I could. Because I was like writing that in my notes, and then I read the next part, and I was like, oh.
Nope.
All right, well, at least you addressed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final one, the next thing is, the kitchen door flew open with a tremendous slam, splintering the door frame and leaving the wood hanging from its hinges. That's it! Came the loud reply. All the clowns behind the counter threw their hands over their ears, closed their eyes tight, and with the same round O shape on their mouths, shook their heads no in perfect unison.
Yeah, just like that.
Run! Run now! Now is the time to run!
He does run.
Yeah, no, I know, it is, but like, it's just, yeah, like this, I don't know if it's just because like, I did have a fear of clowns, but like, yeah, this story spoke to me for the creep factor in a few ways that more than we normally might have.
Like for you, you'd be driving down the road, you'd look over at the restaurant where the doors is...
No.
Yeah, like the entire building is the head of a clown with the doors as in the mouth. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going.
I might even like pause, like stop, if there's nobody like coming or going, and take a photo. But I'm not going in there.
Not leaving your car.
I'm not leaving my car.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not not losing sight of the door.
Yep.
Don't lose sight of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just had to like kind of emphasize just how kind of creepy the story kind of built up with the whole clown thing for me. And then we actually come to the ending line, or ending a little bit, where it's like, I sat alone in the dark, and all I could do was laugh uncontrollably. Peter was going to ask me what exactly happened, why I was so distraught, what had irrevocably fractured my psyche. and I knew exactly what to say to him. It's no fun if I just tell you. So I really liked this ending. This story is focused around this joke that Peter always does. And honestly, for me, it pays off at the end. It's also, to me, this story is a pretty succinct, if absurdist / bizarre, creepy story. Like, it's absurd, like, what happens in the story, but it's also, like, the absurdism of the clowns and this, like, pristine, like, place in the middle of nowhere, and the children in that, with the children in that that truck for a the meat packing thing. It adds to the creepiness as well. As, like, I could laugh at it, but that laughter would be, like, hiding my creeped out factor. So I kind of give it props for that, like, for being, like, this kind of absurdist horror. And that is my notes till we get to the final thoughts.
Alright. So,
what are you going to read off that blank page there?
We're going to stick to a joke there.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see how well he can improv here.
alright, so I have to give Slimebeast some kudos for Honkers.
Yeah.
Because when he first mentioned Honkers, the first thing that came to mind was Hooters.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
And that was actually in the story.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, it's clown related. Okay, well, that's...
I mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense. And then all of a sudden at the end, it's like, oh, it's like Hooters. But
we were topless, Honkers. I was like, oh.
So he brought it back.
That's what I meant by, like, it being kind of succinct, is, like, things do get brought back, and, like, it's a nice, tightly knit story for that.
Yeah.
But.
And then some critically silliness. One sentence. Basically, we were nerdy bums. My mind went to Nerds the Candy in bum form.
What?
What? I feel like a percentage of our listeners just did that as well. Like, what?
Like, they're nerd candies, but they're each shaped like little bums.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would you? Okay. Why not? That's a better question. Why not? Okay.
Well, I told you it was...
Yeah, it is critically silly. I will give you that. We have critical levels of silliness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Even though I'm pretty sure that's not what we meant originally when we said critically silly. I'm pretty sure critically silly meant, like, being so critical to a story that we were being silly about it. But it works, I guess, both ways now.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright. So, one point he talks about going off on a road trip to meet the girl that he met online. And then we never hear about her again.
Okay, yeah, kind of, yeah, right? Like, I mean, to be fair, like, after that experience, I would probably, like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home and hide. Or, like...
Because the story isn't about her, it's about his experience going to meet her.
Yeah, it was, she was just a means, in the story, in terms of the narrative and story, she was the means in which he was gonna be on that road.
Yeah.
So that his friend could, lead him astray with the Bridgestone, Stonebridge, Bridgestone road.
Bridge. Stone road.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
like, nothing saying that he didn't continue to go there afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it just says he calls and bitches at him, but
and then
he doesn't go home.
Yeah.
Now, continuing on with the whole Bridgestone thing, because you start bringing it up.
I don't know, what have I done?
I looked at the spot where he's getting the directions.
Yeah.
And he's writing them down. So that means
he wrote
that
them down.
Pete said it, but he wrote them down.
And
so that means the protagonist is dyslexic to some degree.
Or Peter accidentally said the wrong street name.
Or he misheard Peter saying Bridgestone.
Now,
because that is also a viable option.
You would think that, but he clearly messed up the directions early on because he never passes that one location that's like, oh yeah, it's just past the...
What is it
It's
called?
because he didn't go down
that's
Stonebridge. He went down Bridgestone. They're different roads.
No. Yeah. Sorry. I thought you said Stone. Sorry.
Wow.
I'm apparently dyslexic.
Apparently.
See, it worked. I'm out of credence.
Either way, he did not go down the road that Peter told him because there weren't any of the landmarks before.
But
Honkers.
Bridgestone is like the last road in the directions. So he would pass that one landmark before he got to Bridgestone.
He had to turn on
he had to
Bridgestone
turn.
and then I thought he just turned on Bridgestone and then just followed until he came across.
And then there were
Honkers,
landmarks along the
basically.
way.
Just for the audience at home, we are double checking.
Furiously looking through our phones.
Checking the story. Editing may be involved.
They are on Bridgestone Road, and then 4 miles past the Sit and Stay.
Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, if he's given directions, the fact that College Street probably doesn't connect to Bridgestone, or in this case,
Except for some reason it does.
Or he somehow got it wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, like...
Now,
okay.
I was thinking of trying to actually find this location.
Of course you did. I mean, to be fair, like I do that with some creepypastas too. So yeah, okay.
Anyway, so I couldn't find the College Street turnoff on Route 421.
It's fine. He doesn't go on that.
Yes, he does.
No. Past the turnoff onto College
but
Street.
there should still be a turnoff.
Of College Street.
College Street.
I see what he means.
Yeah, but he doesn't take it.
Yeah.
But you're saying it should be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost
like we're talking about a story that's fictional. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, going back to the dyslexia, do I just...
Just find like High School Street or something?
I was going to say university.
No.
Okay, sorry.
Elementary Street.
I looked up a list of the routes,
Yeah.
and there is no Route 124.
It's Route 421.
I know, but with dyslexia,
Oh. So we went on a complete... Like, his entire route is completely fictional. Mm-hmm. Almost like it's in a piece of fiction.
Wow.
All right.
What a revelation.
So wait, did you find a stone bridge on a...
no.
Okay.
I didn't go that deep.
Yeah. You didn't go that deep down the rabbit hole?
Yeah. Once I couldn't find College Street, I was like,
Came up pretty quickly.
yes.
Fair enough.
Alright, so back to the thing. So, at one point, the super mad cook that's built like a brick house.
A brick shithouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant square muscle mass.
It gets really angry about extra ketchup. And it's the most mundane
I know.
thing.
Again, we were given this by Matt after doing Ronald McDonald House. So my first kind of assumption, I remember back when we first got it last year. My assumption was that extra ketchup was going to be something like they were like making ketchup out of people or something like that somehow, or like it was like basically they were using blood or something like that to make ketchup, and that it was going to be extra ketchup, but it wasn't actually ketchup that the person was using. But no, it's just kind of it's a red herring in the story, but it's a good kind of title to kind of get you in because it's kind of mundane. But it's such an odd title that you kind of want to read the story about it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so
It's just weird that was the thing that triggered everything.
Yeah.
And like, why?
The guy's just really angry.
I guess it's just one of those situations where it's like the straw that broke the camel's back situation.
Yeah, something like that, or like what was going on in that kitchen? Like, I assume that the guy, we are under the assumption that the burgers are made of people, right? Made of kids. Like,
What else would they have to deliver?
That's why they had that meatpacking truck.
I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
How can you sell veal-grade human meat for $5.21 for a burger, fries, and a drink?
It was a really big burger.
And it was a really big burger.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying like that's too much or that's too little?
It's too little.
When's the last time you went to a fast food joint?
Like the other day, McDonald's even.
Well, how much do you get for $5?
I can get a. Okay, I will give you. I can't get a combo for $5. Canadian anyway, because America. This is.
America.
This would be America. So $5 American would probably be about $8. So actually, yeah, you could get a combo for $8. Give or take. Yeah.
It'd be the low end.
Yeah, low end.
Would it be a quadrupled quarter pounder
It would not. It would not. But then again, like they don't get that many people in there, so like, or at least that's what we assume. Or like maybe just
if they don't get a lot of people, then they have to put the prices up.
I mean, that's also assuming that it works out in normal situations. We are literally dealing with human trafficking clowns that run a pristine place in the middle of nowhere that doesn't exist.
It's like a parallel universe,
like a road
situation.
that doesn't exist. So, like it's either something supernatural or extraordinary going on. But yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, $5, like $5 and how much cents? 75.
Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. Like,
the cents aren't going to change it.
Roughly $5 American, I think, would be a combo. And it is a fast food joint.
Well,
Despite the fact that apparently the guy is prepping it and making it like right there, like before. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, it just seems like too low a price, especially for the grade of meat that we're talking about.
Veal grade.
Wow.
Oh, that is horrible. That is like, oh.
You're not wrong, but holy shit.
Damn. I mean, to be fair, they didn't pay for those kids. They just took them out of from schools or churches or pool parties, wherever they could find them, and like some of them are like decaying inside of that meat packing truck.
Yeah, so they're making a profit regardless.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
You don't think so?
No.
I mean, the diesel in that truck probably costs a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the operating costs of the restaurant.
Yeah,
They need to build a restaurant.
Yeah.
And they got to pay the staff. Oh, actually, they might not pay the staff.
They might not just... Yeah, remember, they're all in that... They all go in that compact car, which...
The clown car.
God damn. Yeah, I know. As soon as I saw... Yeah, that's the other thing. As soon as I heard that, like, that compact car was where they were coming out of, I was like, well done, Slimebeast. You made a clown car.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, why didn't I notice that until earlier? Because he kept calling it a compact car. I was like, oh, that... Damn it.
That damn it.
Well done. But yeah.
Which would be highly illegal in Canada, because you have to have one seatbelt per person.
Pretty sure it's the same in the States.
You don't know, there could be 100 seatbelts in there.
Yeah, I guess.
All hooked up from different areas.
Alright. There's packed in there as like the kids in that truck.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what broke your camel's back, is that like, the prices, the economics.
That's really a problem.
That is hilarious. Theirs are critically silly on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Alright. And then we mentioned the police earlier, mentioning it's a prank, but they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
They're supposed to go out, do the investigation, because when you call 911, they come.
If they're not dirty cops or corrupted cops or real, if they're not fictional cops,
I would accept that if there was a cop car in the parking lot already, because he's chowing down, having his lunch.
I don't know. Like I'm like, again. This, like, to me, this just it's just that horror trope of like the cops just not giving a shit. And like
they say why they don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's like this is 100 times. Like if they keep doing it, like they keep getting put it like into real world state. I guess like try and insinuate some reality to this.
Which is what I'm doing.
They're a small. They're like a rural cop station or whatever. They've been told they've gotten this report 100 times. They've probably checked it a couple of times. It's a pristine building, and the place is kind of weird or something like that. Or maybe they can't find it because there's no
That's
no
the way
bridge to the
I
road.
assume
Yeah, there's
it.
no
It's
bridge to
not
the road,
there.
so they can't find it. So eventually, after 100 fucking calls, or even after 50 fucking calls, they just don't care anymore. So they're just going to assume it's not a thing, or it's just a prank.
Nope.
But they're mandated to do their job, and if that job brings in a fine because of a prank phone call, that means more money coming in.
I understand. That's how real cops work.
Yeah, realism. That's what I'm bringing into this.
And nothing's saying that when he got home he didn't have a fucking bill on his phone for
calling it a prank call.
for charges or whatever the hell that works.
Cell phone. So yeah, he probably again, we don't have that aftermath information because it's no fun if we just tell you.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, but the problem is that's assumed it's a prank call, and they didn't actually investigate.
Oh, they assume.
Yeah, they did assume after the 100.
But it's because we already talked about this. If they call it 100 times, they're going to assume every single one is a prank call when they're calling in about a place that doesn't exist. If you were working at 911 and someone called in saying that there's a restaurant on Flurgenbergen Road called Hergebergs, and then Hergeburgers, and then 100 other people do that, and you can't find the place, would you continue going out nowhere trying to find this place?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you are a better cop than I'm sure a percentage of cops are. In fiction.
In fiction.
There's a cop show up here. Oh, God.
That's how I see it. That's how I scare myself. Yeah. I understand your grievance about it, and I knew that you were going to bring it up. I knew. As soon as I read that, I was like, I get it, but man, is he going to rip into that?
Alright. And this is just a side note that the staff there were really well trained.
Yeah.
Except for that cook that just couldn't hold his temper.
Yep.
He's the boss. He doesn't have to.
Yeah. Sometimes managers are just assholes.
Yeah.
At restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I totally have no experience about that.
No, of course not.
Yeah. Anyway, and the whole ending where there is no Bridgestone, that just seems to me like it should have been worded better, like I didn't tell you Bridgestone, or something along those lines.
I mean, to be fair, there is no Bridgestone.
He knows the road.
Yeah, he knows the road. Like, it's the simplest way to get that across. Like when your buddy's yelling at you for something you didn't do, or that you don't think you did. You're gonna look for the simplest way to tell your friends. There is no Bridgestone. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I said Stonebridge. You're not gonna be try and have this. You're not gonna have a long. You're gonna try and go for the shortest distance to try and alleviate the problem.
I don't know. It seemed kind of lazy.
All right. Fear.
If you want to see it that way, fine.
I do.
Well, fine.
What are your thoughts on the matter?
I mean, I've been chiming in with most things. Don't have too much to say, but we'll see. So when I was reading through this, I got to the point when the narrator is at the restaurant starting to describe it, and this isn't anything to do directly with the story, but I was just thinking with the whole joke situation, because I know you told me not to go in here without any bias, but you did tell me that it was essentially a creepy story wrapped around a joke.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is Peter's joke. I'm assuming that this whole... I was wondering if me reading this, if Slimebeast is also doing this joke to me, to the point that he's writing this story when things start happening, and then he just, well, I can't continue, because that'd be no fun, kind of deal. Or if it just stops.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I kind of was... As soon as I heard that, I was like... I understood the joke for, because that is a lot... That is a creepypasta trope right there. It's lack of information, something you have repeatedly over the show hated. I was like, oh no.
I would not have been a happy camper if that happened.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially just him going, well, fuck you, reader.
Yeah. No, this isn't Picture This, where the serial killer is actually going after Creepypasta critics, which was a story we did. Actually, I think it was it was Mikey's debut Creepypasta.
Still waiting for the hitman.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened yet.
Nope. They can't get across the border.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Plus, they have to figure out how to assassinate a
Cosmic horror.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. I would have killed him years ago if I knew.
You're actually the convict killer.
Shh! Don't tell him!
That's why you popped on the show.
Yeah.
That explains so much. That's why you've been on the show this long, or as a main host now.
Yep.
Everything's clear now.
I'm just waiting on my magic sword to be delivered to me, so it'll work.
The sacred demon's killing sword from Hayabusa.
Sure, why not?
Hanzo.
Hayabusa?
I don't know. I'm making words at this point.
Cool, that's fine. But yeah, the only other thing is just, I found it weird that, like, by the end of the story, it didn't really, he didn't break down any, well, he broke down at the end because he was laughing kind of funny, like, over what's going on, because he's going to tell his friend the joke. But he didn't really break down thinking, oh god, I just ate a child.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, okay, because, I think he did, it's not mentioned because, like, I was wondering about that because
If it's not mentioned, didn't happen to me.
No, not just that. Like in the quote, like in the final thing,
He's kind of like laughing hysterically, like he's insane. I think.
yeah, or because his psyche is broken a bit.
Yeah.
And you might be able to ascertain that, like, because of, like, that's where he, like, realized he was eating some, like, kids because he saw the truck and the refrigerated meat storage truck. So, like, yeah, that's where the meat was coming from. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what broke him, or, like, the fact that he was being attacked. He was almost, like, killed by a bunch of clowns. But yeah, I did. When I first read it, I do remember, like, it's like my fractured psyche is like fractured psyche. I guess maybe you could put that, but
Yeah, I'm just surprised it didn't kind of happen earlier, to the point where, like, he looks in the back of the truck, he's like, oh god, he runs back in his car and throws up kind of deal.
Like,
you know? Yeah.
Or like when he drives
As he's driving, roll down the window.
or maybe that was when he stopped, like, on the side of the road,
Yeah.
to go puke, and then
He calls his friend.
Nobody, no help. Calls his buddy.
It's the other way around, but yes.
No, like, he calls the cops first, and then
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought he called his buddy first. Oh yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, don't be dyslexic on us.
Yeah, sorry. It's spreading. It's contagious.
And then, yeah, so, like, that would be, like, thing. But, yeah, it's kind of just, like, it's not really, it isn't necessary. Like,
Yeah.
I could have it in the story, but it wasn't crucial to the story, because the story was kind of to get that ending zinger of, like, of him fulfilling the joke on the person that always does the joke.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the whole realization that he ate human meat has to be the zinger. I'm just saying it should be there.
Oh, yeah.
Because generally when you see any kind of story when someone accidentally eats human, they end up throwing up immediately.
Yeah.
Because they're like, that's disgusting.
You see, he's gone mad with mad cow disease. 'Cause that's what happens when you eat.
Oh, he's got mad human disease.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really the Honkers is the ground zero for the zombie infestation of Zombieland.
Oh, I see.
And that was mad human disease.
And he's also turning into a clown.
Oh my god! He's gonna go. That's what happened after the events of this. He told his friends, "No, I'll just show you." And then he brings his Peter out there and becomes an employee.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why he's laughing all the time, because he's becoming a clown.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
What a revelation!
What a revelation! Also, what would you think about if when the big burly man comes out from the back? Would you have liked it or not liked it if he happened to have antlers? Because Wendigo. This is about eating humans.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like the yeah.
Would you have been happy or sad?
I don't know.
Like, they don't have to focus on it. It's just if it was there.
I'd be confused. I would. Yeah. That's really my only, like, reaction to that was, like, I'd be confused. I'd probably not understand it until we talked about it, and then I realized it was a Wendigo thing.
And you'd be like, what a revelation.
And then I'd be like, oh my god, it makes so much sense.
Because it's essentially a Wendigo adapting to modern times and starting his own restaurant.
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, you don't have to be a Wendigo. Like, you don't have to be a Wendigo and have, like, antlers.
You could be a deer guy.
No, I mean, like, you don't need the antlers to be a Wendigo.
Oh.
You could be just, like, basically you have to be, kind of a ghoulish creature that eats meat.
That has to cover his face in face paint to hide the fact that he's a ghoulish creature.
Yes.
My God.
They're actually ghouls from New England.
I mean, he is, like, inhumanly ripped.
Yeah, that's true. And he's just, like, this... Honestly, it's funny because I kept, like, picturing either Brick from Borderlands 2...
Oh, yeah.
Or, the Anger from Inside Out.
I don't know that one.
Just like a big fleshy version of that guy, like just because he has no neck, so he's just like he's just square,
Yeah,
muscle
pretty
mass.
Or fucking old ass reference, Strong Mad.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Where he's just a square.
It's just strong man. Yeah,
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I honestly, it could go either way.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair. That's about it.
All right. Well, before we do our final thoughts, we're going to have a little word from our sponsor.
Oh, hello. It's Cultist from the future with a very special guest.
Hi, this is Matt again. You thought I was gone, but I'm not.
Oh, no.
I'm back.
So, I said in this episode that you've been listening to that Matt here from The Drunk and the Ugly and Ugly Talk is the reason we are doing Extra Ketchup this anniversary episode. Because you brought it up last year.
I brought it up during the Ronald
after we did
McDonald
the
House
Ronald
one,
McDonald House. Yeah. And I thought it only fair that we get your opinion on the matter.
Yeah, so I guess you've gone through
this
the whole,
anniversary episode.
rundown and whatever earlier in the thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we've done our... basically, we've done the rundown and we've done our discussions.
So I reread this recently for this episode, and there's, now that reading it and then reading it again and taking notes, there's, a bunch of other, small details I somehow missed the first time, which I really liked that, I think this is the thing I said to Cultist behind the scenes, but the thing I like about this is that it really follows the cadence and all the beats of a creepypasta, but just fills it with nonsense.
Yeah. I think I bring it up that it's absurdist horror.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
I think you've read, I don't know, what is it, 200 something stories at this point for your show?
For the show alone, yeah. Yeah, and I, absurdist horror, or the things that are brought up in Extra Ketchup aren't really anything new to creepypasta. They are kind of creepypastas have a very odd blend of creepy and weird and trying to make something that shouldn't be creepy at all creepy.
Yeah. I guess to some degree a lot of the beats in this were actually sort of I guess they were funny in that they just took this really stupid concept and played it straight as a scary story. And it's got a lot of the nice little twists in here. One of the things is do you guys have a name for the MC? So I'm just gonna call him Steve.
Oh, we just use narrator.
Okay, yeah. So the narrator. So the narrator's talking to his friend Peter, and there's a thing in there where he says oh yeah, you need to go down the street and you'll find this red sign that says Honkers, and the narrator it's specifically that Peter says you're looking for a red sign, and the narrator finds a yellow and white sign and doesn't think about it.
Yeah,
which I liked, and also it kind of goes back to that McDonald's aesthetic. And then there's just it's he enters into the place and it's got a more toned down kind of clown feeling inside. The outside of it is weird and garish and insane, and the inside of it is just a restaurant with like really like low key employee with like the employees have face paint, but it's like a uniform, like it's like really toned down, and so it feels like any other theme restaurant except like the employees are really enthusiastic about it. And then
like bordering on like drones.
kind of like.
But, yeah.
I don't know, your basic sort of fast food employees, but then they also like are also clowns in that they like the guy keeps like harassing the cashier, like making her say his order really fast and making her say it like backwards and all this other dumb stuff. And then so the thing is, it's like any other story about going to a bad restaurant where like. I know there's a restaurant I used to go to down in Chicago called White Palace, which is, I think, got featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And it's a pretty good restaurant. They have pretty good milkshakes, but the management is fucking shit, and they will get so mad at you if you try to split a check that we just stopped going.
Really?
Because we were all a bunch of college kids, and we didn't have cash on us.
Yeah.
So... And it's one of the things. It's a thing that came back to me in this story because this guy gets his order and asks for some extra ketchup, and then the manager, who's like, they go out of their way to describe this manager like who has a sad clown face painted on and is just really mad anytime a customer makes any kind of special request. And that just kind of came back to me a lot from my experiences at other obscure kind of diners, even though this is a fast food restaurant.
Well, I mean the kitchen situation kind of feels like a more like a diner-y kind of thing than an actual fast
yeah,
food
that's
thing.
one of the things. Like it's a diner that is presented like a fast food restaurant, and then also like what was the other thing? Like the guy gets his food, and the food is not that good. Like the burger has the burger is like very low grade like ground meat that has chips of bone in it.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
And I've been to a restaurant like that. I've bitten into a burger and gotten a crunchy thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but I have had hamburger that had like a couple bone chips in it, and it's really unpleasant to get that because you're not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's this sort of I guess it's sort of this like trifecta that it's just like I feel like Slimebeast went to a shitty restaurant where the management got mad at him, and then just kind of wrapped it in a creepypasta, like in a creepypasta filter. Because that's what it feels like. It's just this like shitty restaurant experience where then also, I think my favorite part actually of this story, when I'm thinking about it now, is like when we get to the actual twist where the manager comes out and is like in a full clown uniform for some reason.
And also just a brick house, like just a giant monster.
The guy's a fucking brick house and chases him out of the restaurant, and he's like, and then we get to the twist, like, oh, the hamburgers are made of dead children. My favorite part is as he's like pulling out, when he goes to the restaurant, he pulls in, and there's like the one shitty like beat up Honda Civic there. And he's like, oh, okay, good thing there's like another customer here. And then as he's leaving, like in a panic, like he gets out, like he drives out, and it's like I was the only one in that restaurant, and I realized all the employees came in the same car. That's my favorite parts.
I was like,
came in a clown
well done,
car.
Slimebeast. Like it's a clown car, and like I should have known because it's he kept calling it a compact car, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
they all carpool with the manager in their like shitty beat up compact car.
Yep.
And then it's like, and then on top of that, like it's like multiple layers of jokes that are then like built into the creepypasta formula, because like the other part of this is that it's bookend on either side with the story with Peter, where Peter's talking about Honkers and how it's a surprise restaurant and all that stuff, and Peter has like the catchphrase like, well, it's no fun if I just tell you about it. And then it comes to the reveal like, oh no, it's called Honkers because all the waitresses are topless. And then, like, why? What happened to you? And then the narrator's like, he realizes like for the first time he can tell Peter like, well, I mean, it's no fun if I just tell you about it. And it was really good structuring, and it was just, It's really it hits all the proper like story beats, but it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid.
Yeah. Like, I think that's one of the things I like about creepypastas is like we get these kind of really absurd, weird, like ideas, like concepts to put into a horror scenario, and like. On the one side, I should be laughing, but if I was in this scenario, I'd be terrified,
like
just like the narrator.
It's one of these things. It's one of these things where it's like, this isn't scary to read, but I bet if I was in that situation, it would be uncomfortable. Like any other storytelling experience. Like, there's a lot of, like, if you listen to the Risk podcast or This Is Not Happening, like, those are stories about people like fighting for their lives, but like making jokes about it and stuff. So like, comedy is tragedy plus time. In this case, the time is infinite because this event never happened, probably. Oh, right, that's the...
Yeah, no...
Going through my notes, that's my other favorite part, is as he's leaving the restaurant, he calls 911 about the clown restaurant, and the operator's just like, "Sir, this wasn't funny the first couple hundred times it happened."
Yeah, it's just like, oh...
That everybody thinks it's a prank call every time somebody goes to the restaurant. It's such an absurd scenario that like your emergency coordinators don't believe it.
Yeah.
We had calls from this number tonight about a leprechaun fight and a severe case of butt rot. How dumb do you think we are?
So you felt that was actually believable then? Like that the cops would just like shrug it off as nothing?
I think this many times, yeah. So that's the thing. It might be that they investigated it the first time, but they couldn't find the restaurant because it's on a road that apparently doesn't exist, as we learn later. Because Peter's telling him about the directions to Honkers, and the narrator hears it as Stonebridge, but it's like, or the narrator hears it as Bridgestone, and when he's telling him, it's like, "I just turned on Bridgestone," it's like, "Stonebridge. The restaurant's on Stonebridge. There's no street called Bridgestone."
And then it's like, what street did I just go on?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like this is a fucking magical clown restaurant that serves shitty food made of children. Oh, and I think that's the thing. Like, Jesus. Probably the first time, like, yeah, it's like, oh, we heard about like this crazy restaurant, we're gonna go investigate it. And at this point, it's so deep in there that anytime 911 hears about this like crazy clown restaurant, they assume it's a prank call. Like, I've never worked in dispatch. So I don't know, but I imagine it's one of these things where they say 100 times. So like at this point, they assume it's a prank. They assume it's like some obtuse crank call.
Yeah.
And also the road doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't put that forward like as like why they would just dismiss it. The street itself doesn't exist.
Well, remember, like that's the other part of this is like he turns down Bridgestone and then he drives into the woods, and in the middle of the goddamn woods is this clown restaurant.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal with that too. It's just like
this road only opens up once a moon.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, that right there is a red flag for me. If I'm like driving down some country road in the middle of like woods and like whatnot, and there's just a pristine clown themed restaurant, I'm like, no.
with one car in the parking lot. Yeah, no, that's like the thing. Yeah. I kind of want to see this recreated. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be as good, but I'd like to see somebody make the ritual pasta version of this, of how to find Bridgestone and get to the obscure clown restaurants.
It's just gonna be 11 Mile Road all over again.
What's 11 Mile Road? I haven't read that one.
Are you familiar with that? It's like basically you have to go through these 11 miles of like hell. Down a road after you have to find the road by like going out into the middle of the wood, like in the middle of nowhere, and just like as you're traveling down back roads and you wish hard enough, you'll find a marker that for a road that is the 11 Mile Road, and then you follow 11 miles plus a kilometer at the end, and you will get your like greatest wish like rewarded.
Yeah, just make a new version of that where you have to drive through 11 miles of hell, and at the end is just this shitty clown restaurant.
Oh my god. Oh, fuck. But yeah, no, it was like ridiculous because like I think I can't remember how the start is, but I think you have to basically just like while you're driving on the back roads, you just have to like think hard on your wish, and the road will appear, and there will be like signs like bloody trees or something like that, and like that's when you know that you're
Yeah,
there.
so maybe this is the unofficial sequel to 11 Mile Road, where this guy really wanted to find Honkers, but it was a monkey's paw version of Honkers.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Because he didn't know what Honkers
or
was, he
just
just knew
another-
the name. He didn't know he wanted to go to the titty bar.
Oh fuck. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, that's just or just another weird road anomaly like 11 Mile Road, but it's like semi connected to the same like origin or whatever. That is ridiculous.
So remember, when Peter told his friends about another restaurant where it's like, well, it's no fun if I just tell you, like, they all went there and they got, like, terrible food poisoning. And so this is, like, the narrator's revenge is like, oh, well, it's no fun if I just tell you about the clown restaurant.
Oh, God, I didn't even think of that implication. God damn it. Yeah, like, I had an idea that, like, maybe he'd, like, that he was planning on, like, taking, or, like, gonna try and get, Peter to this place. But I didn't even think of that implication of, like, getting revenge because of the food poisoning thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's open to interpretation, so that might not necessarily be the thing. But, yeah.
But that's really good, good to think on for, like, or, like, a cool thing to think on at the end.
And, yeah, like, man, this whole, the whole restaurant was just so, like, beyond everything else, like, yeah, now I'm more thrown off by, like, how it's a diner that, like, operates like a fast food restaurant. Where, like, they give all your food to you in a bag. That also means you order to go. Because, like, even if you go...
and then
if you go to McDonald's and you order your food to keep... You order your food to eat in, like, they'll bring it to you on a tray.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so they gave him in a bag. I guess maybe they... I don't know, like, it could... I mean, again, thinking that this place actually, like, is there stationary all the time. Maybe they're used to, like, customers coming in just being picked up.
Maybe, yeah, because they have a drive-thru
apparently kind of odd,
as well. Because he wishes he had taken the drive-thru instead of sitting in there.
And yet you got to-go bag.
Yeah. Let me scan through my notes some more. I just have kind of the beats for the story written down. Yeah, that's kind of all I have here. Is just I really liked how this was structured like a creepypasta, but just like this really absurd story about a shitty clown restaurant.
Yeah, no, like, it is a really nice, like, kind of. I felt it was a really nice, tightly knit story.
Yeah,
so,
it's
like, and it's wrapped around that joke of like the Peter thing.
Well, it's wrapped around multiple
like
jokes.
Said,
like I think my my second favorite thing about it also is just the double entendre of Honkers of like you've got it's just man. I think I just like that. I also like the implication that there's a restaurant called Honkers that's using that as a euphemism for tits. Just like. Yeah. Like I think it was what was it? There's this old show called Con where this guy just did con jobs on people. The show did it was a hidden camera show and they did pay people for everything they stole. But the guy went to a bunch of like models, like telling them he was starting a new adult magazine called Stiff.
Jesus. Wow.
And it's just like that straightforward. I don't know. Something about like stupid names really gets me sometimes. But yeah, there's I also tried to I also can't find anything. Sit and Stay appears to be a gas station invented for this story because I can't find anything about any convenience store or gas station called Sit and Stay.
Yeah, one of us tried to locate a spot like I guess on like was it Highway 24 was the road or the main road that he gets off of. We tried finding one that had a Stonebridge road, but did not find it at all.
Any luck on that?
So, No, it was nothing. It was just strange. It's a fictional area.
Yeah, that's
fictional piece of
yeah. It's there because they could say Bridgestone and say like, no, it's Stonebridge. The road's called Stonebridge, which that's another.
Yeah.
So I think that's a detail I missed the first time I read this story, was that not only did he go, like, he went to the wrong restaurant, but he went to a road that doesn't exist, which is a nice little extra departure there. And I don't know, I felt like the story was really just Slimebeast taking the piss, like, because it every part of this, every beat of this feels and reads like a creepypasta, but is about this, like, you know, because I mean, I guess you could get, like, some people might get the horror from the. I guess I'll also throw in I'm not afraid of clowns, which part of it doesn't affect me that much.
Yeah, I am, or was.
Yeah.
So clown, yeah, like the story did touch me on a little bit of a level with that, just like especially how everybody was acting in the town in that place.
Now, I'll also get from this, one of the reasons this came up when we did Ronald McDonald House was because of the I listened to the reading of Ronald McDonald House by Nick Nocturne and Midnight Marinera, and also Slimebeast was there, and so Slimebeast brought up this story, which is how I learned about it, and it felt like a good connective tissue for, because Ronald McDonald House was another story where I felt like it could have been fixed by being really stupid.
Yeah.
By really leaning either more into the clown angle or the fast food angle instead of like the weird asylum angle. And this one I feel like is what hit the beats for that perfectly, where like it also, you know, I guess also going back to it's a joke that's structured like a pasta. It has the big reveal, like the big startling reveal is like, oh, the burgers are made of dead children. It's like that feels like such a cliched sort of thing for this setting that it feels like it's in there just to be in there, like to facilitate the story, beats that would make it a pasta, and then kind of keeps going. Goes with like, I got in my car and I drove away and I realized like everybody came here in a giant clown car.
Yeah. Well, even like the combat car and him thinking that there's another person there. And then when he goes and gets his burger and he's eating and he realizes that he's the only one in the place, and he's like, oh, I hope I'm not like eating that person in the combat car. But then like he dismisses it, and I realized now like that's kind of like the prep work for both the fact that like you're eating people and the compact car being a clown car. Like, it's like a nice little, I guess it's a setup for those two. Also,
man, I wonder what kind of meat locker Honkers has in order to store that many, like, child bodies.
Oh, God. Well, they weren't, like, even, like, standing.
Yeah, they were packed,
they were, like,
floor to ceiling, like sardines.
Like, floored, yeah. Yeah, like, oh, God. It's a miracle any of them were knocking at on the wall or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or not that many of them were.
I also can't remember at this point if it like, I think the implication is that they're dead.
Some of them were. They like a bunch of them like were gangrenous. And,
yeah. Okay.
like,
yeah. So there was there was detail.
But some of them were.
There was some detail about them like putrefying. Yeah.
Yeah, and that just sounded. I guess like they were basically just like taken, like basically just abducted kids because like they were in like swim shorts. Or,
yeah, they were in all forms of dress
for school or church. Yeah, like all the kinds of places you'd expect, like the candy truck to show up.
See, and this is the other connective tissue to the Ronald McDonald House.
Oh my God, you're right.
This is where the bad kids go.
Oh fuck.
This is the story that Baba tells you to make sure you're a good boy at night. While she gives you your McDonald's. Or
a hugely obese clown man in a truck is going to take you away.
Yeah, you know that old chestnut.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot also like the details about the restaurant are like. They talk about that there's a giant clown head, which okay, and then there's trash cans that look like seals, and then also the restaurant has circus lion gargoyles.
Yeah.
Which I never really thought about it, but like I wonder what this restaurant actually looks like on the outside. Like if it looks like a fast food restaurant, or if it's like a fucking like stone and concrete structure with windows.
I kind of like when I heard the like the way the garbage cans were in like the line gargoyles. I kind of pictured like that faux fiberglass.
That could work. That could work. Yeah.
Like there's like it's kind of almost reminded me of like a funhouse kind of exterior, like where like it's all fiberglass, but it's made to look like
sure.
Yeah. Thing.
Yeah, they could. That makes sense. Yeah, like airbrushed, like carousel or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're kind of digging into minutia at this point, unless you have some other points you want to kind of get into.
No. This was mainly just I wanted to get your kind of.
Oh yeah, I loved this story. Maybe not for the reason that it was. I that's the thing. Like, part of me is like, I wonder if Slimebeast just kind of went out of his way to write like a really like stupid story, or if the story's intended to be scary and I'm just not the target audience for it. I loved it, maybe not for the reasons that were intended, but it's a good story to me.
All right. And I guess with that, we will go back to the main show.
See you there. I'm not going to be in that part.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So, final thoughts. So the story gives decent context to the situation, starts the joke, makes it the centerpiece of the entire scenario, and finishes off with the final punchline. It's humorous, while still laying on a thick layer of creepy with the clown themes and the weird behaviors, the strange setting, and morbid events that follow with the truck. The journey has a beginning, middle, and end that is satisfying. So I would recommend this story. That's bam.
I felt like you just read that off the back of the novel.
Yeah, no, like I enjoyed the story. Like there's some grammar issues obviously, but I mean those could easily be fixed. But like the story itself to me was a complete tight story. Like, and it was creepy but absurdist creepy, which I always kind of tend to like. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, this story is almost good.
Oh no.
It almost seems like it's trying to be like a Twilight Zone episode.
Okay, yeah, right? To me, okay, not for me. It wasn't. Sorry, I was going to say something, but I forgot it from last night because I was like reread the story. Does anybody else remember that show, Freaky Stories?
No.
On YTV?
No.
Okay. It was basically very much like The Outer Limits or like The Twilight Zone, but it was like all done in like they're all like urban legend stories or like freaky stories. Just because they never happened don't mean they ain't true. Like that was their slogan kind of thing.
I feel like you're just sitting there watching Static at this point.
Maybe.
We don't believe it.
You don't remember the blue cockroach and the maggot?
No.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, no, like it's basically like kind of like not. I mean, there were some extremes, but like they were more absurdist, creepy than they were like just straight up horror. Mm-hmm. And this kind of reminded me of like that kind of feeling from that show. Well, yeah, definitely could see like a Twilight Zone kind of feel to it.
Yeah, where really, because he goes off the beaten path and enters the Twilight Zone, mm-hmm. which is
where weird shit happens.
Yeah, and then he tunes back to reality.
Oh no,
he does. He actually does.
He tunes back, so it's not actually the clown tuning back; it's him tuning back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and like, yeah, okay,
yeah. And then he makes the phone call to the police, and that's when they're all like, "It's a prank." But
because even when he's tuned to the wrong reality, his phone is still connected to the normal towers, so he could talk to normal reality. And in normal reality, Bridgestone Road doesn't exist, but he's on it in.
So at some point, what I'm gathering here is at some point, as he's driving to go see his girlfriend, and thinking about all the stuff that Peter said, the radio gets flipped to the Twilight Channel, and he just parks off to the side of the road like unconsciously and just listens to static, I do in quotes, as he envisions the events that happen in the story, and then as he gets to the part where the clown trucker slams the door, he tunes the dial back to normal radio station and gets the hell out of there, thinking that he's experienced that whole thing, and then realizes he hasn't.
It depends if there would be a burger wrapper on the passenger seat or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be probably where the camera would pan to as the credits are rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's still there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it feels like a Twilight Zone episode, but then to me, it feels like it misses the mark, if that's what it's trying to be.
Okay.
Would you say it's like Goosebumps level?
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
So it's like that, so...
What's your problem with it, though, really?
Like, how does it miss the mark of... Like, it seems like it kind of captures that feel of those stories.
It does, but at the same time, it doesn't.
Cool,
Awesome.
So you told us nothing.
Yeah.
I don't like it because reasons is what you've said so far. Would you care to elaborate? No? You're giving me a look of no.
Well, the ending, I don't know, doesn't... Well, the thing with any TV show is that the story only lasts a certain amount of time because they only have 20-some-odd minutes to work with it, right?
Yeah.
And there's extra stuff in here that doesn't need to be there, like, oh yeah, the girlfriend that he met online that is mentioned once and then...
This
never
also
mentioned
isn't the
again.
script to a
Yeah,
TV
this also
show.
isn't a TV
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. So, it...
I don't know, like...
It's like you're reviewing this like it's a script, and it's not.
Yeah, like, I also disagree that, like, it needed to be there...
Why else would they be driving down this random road?
It was the explanation for why he was driving out that way. Like, it was just, it wasn't, it didn't need to be fleshed out, it didn't need to be removed, because it's just the means to an end in the narrative.
That's a way to get him out there alone, too.
Yeah.
Because if he went out there with Peter...
Then they both experience it, or they might not. Like...
You're very without words here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you staying firm on your I don't like it because reasons stance?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to use a quote here about my recommendation.
Okay.
No extra ketchup.
Wow. You wouldn't recommend this story? No. Okay. Fair enough.
It still needs more editing and work. For me, anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because we bring up things,
Yeah, no, I get you.
and that makes them better, but the story as is...
Okay, we're going to have to agree.
You're more than welcome to
Yeah.
have your own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess moving on to me. I didn't like it. And I'm also not going to say why, because that would spoil it.
Is that your actual... What's my point? I just tell you.
Exactly. I'm assuming that's where you're going with it. Or you
Yes.
just... Okay.
See, you should have done that then.
He was doing it subtly.
I guess.
And then I did it not so subtly.
Yeah.
So if people didn't catch it originally, they catch it the second time.
Fair enough.
That being said, I hated it. No, it was actually good. It went along quite fine. I didn't really get stuck up on anything. Those couple of typos weren't even really typos. They're just...
Yeah, it was really just like... Again,
You had a shitload of typos.
very nitpicky typos.
Yeah, I just had like a couple of weird wording situations with double negatives and saying the same thing twice, but story went through fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. I kind of wanted him to address the fact that he is now a cannibal to a point. But that's about it. Everything was explained. Didn't really have too much of a problem, so I'd recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, that was this week's episode and our anniversary episode. If you like what you heard, Or if you didn't, leave us in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted. Whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. You can also check us out on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. Send him your hate tweets.
He is evil.
I'm at Review Cultist. Send me whatever. I don't care. Gamer is on Xbox Live at The Gamer in Yellow, but without the W, because, well, Xbox really hates you so much.
Hates the length of my name,
Yeah.
specifically.
I mean, have you tried just going Gamer in Yellow?
I mean, I'm just lazy.
That's fair. You can also check. You can also leave us a rating and review on iTunes. It helps us grow and helps us, or lets us know how we're doing through that way. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDNTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas that you'd like us to discuss on the show. For all of our listeners and any authors that have listened to our show, thank you immensely. For reals, like if you weren't there, we wouldn't have a show. Like, your stories are what keep the show going. I started the show because I liked creepypastas and I wanted there to be discussion about them. And every time we get an email or a message or a comment, good or bad, which really haven't gotten a whole lot bad, I say now.
You don't need to encourage that.
It's still like I read them all and I get enheartened by them. Mm-hmm. So thank you immensely from the bottom of my heart, my little cultist heart. And I'm sure the other guys do.
Yes. Very much so.
Somewhere,
well, at least
somewhere,
me.
somewhere
Mikey's giving the shifty eyes.
Somewhere in that black abyss that is the Starfield that is Mikey. In that evil heart of his, I'm sure he also, maybe.
No.
But yeah, anyway, thank you. So, and for our patrons, if you, on Patreon, Al Dente Rigamortis on Patreon, we have backer tiers, you can support us at. But to our patrons, thank you immensely for helping keep the hosting bills at bay, those monsters beyond time and space that want our money to keep the lights on and keep the radio broadcast going. Thank you for your support. And thanks to anybody who's ever guest starred on the show, too. Like Matt and Travis from Ugly Talk and Drunk and the Ugly.
Well, I mean, they just had a bit on here, so yeah.
Yeah,
you should be thanking them.
Well, Matt's been on the show.
Yeah.
And thank you, Matt, for helping on the show and suggesting creepypastas for us, and for taking the time to record little bits like the sponsor segment. Thank you, Greg from Anime Daydream, for being on the show. And thank you, everyone else who has been on the show or has listened to the show. Just thank you. It's been a crazy 4 years. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
And it wasn't recording. Activate.
It is on.
It's been activated. Making it silent.
This is Al Dente episode 2012? No, 212 or 211?
Been 2012 episodes?
My God.
Wow.
That's like 10 years from now.
Damn.
Aren't you guys dead? I mean, I am a Starfield here.
Haven't you guys died yet? Jesus, I've just been waiting for that.
That's the only way this contract ends.
Damn it. I I mean, I know I have like a mortal lifespan, and I'm like all about deep time. But god damn it, you humans die already.
Well,
Did you read the fine print, Mikey? It's when all the humans die. It's like, god damn it!
He goes on like a murdering spree, someone killing everyone.